This story begins in a lonely desert. As far as the eye can see, there are no animals, no houses, no signs of life, not even a single person. In that vast emptiness, there's only one house, Raghu's house. Raghu is a railway gatekeeper whose job is to wave the green flag for passing trains. But only 3 trains pass through that route each day, and Raghu knows their schedules by heart, as he's been doing this same job for the past 10 years. In those 10 years, Raghu hasn't seen another human face, nor spoken to anyone. One day, as he was signaling a train with his green flag, he suddenly noticed something. A girl had jumped off the train. She was severely injured and unconscious. Raghu immediately lifted her onto his shoulder and carried her back to his house. For Raghu, this was an extraordinary event. He hadn't seen another human being in 10 years, and now, suddenly, one had appeared before him. He tried to touch the girl, but just then, she regained consciousness and trembled with fear upon seeing him. The girl said her name was Chaitali. Raghu told her, "You fell from the train, so I brought you here. The sun outside is scorching. You could have collapsed out there." Raghu then asked, "How did you fall from the train?" Chaitali replied, "I was traveling with my husband. When I went to the toilet, I saw 2 men fighting there. I tried to stop them, but they pushed me off the train." She added, "My husband must be worried and looking for me. He could come here at any moment, but I have to reach him." Before that, Raghu said, "There are no houses or vehicles for miles around. If your husband comes searching, he'll come here. You should stay." But Chaitali didn't listen. She began walking alone into the desert. She walked for a long time, but saw no houses anywhere. Finally, she became dizzy and fainted to the ground. Raghu had actually followed Chaitali into the desert. When she fainted in the scorching heat, he once again lifted her onto his shoulder and carried her back to his house. Chaitali's leg was badly injured, so Raghu began applying medicine to her wound. Raghu kept telling her, "You can't leave this place. Your husband will surely come looking for you, so you should stay here." But Chaitali couldn't bring herself to trust Raghu. She thought, "How can I spend the night alone in this desolate place with a strange man? What if he tries to harm me? I wouldn't be able to do anything." Still, exhausted, Chaitali eventually fell asleep, though she kept waking up now and then, and each time she saw Raghu sleeping on the floor. Raghu realized she was uncomfortable. So quietly, he stepped outside for the night. When Chaitali saw that Raghu had gone outside, she finally slept in peace. The next morning, Raghu began his routine as usual. He woke up at 4:30 a.m., fetched water from far away, and waved the green flag for the first train of the day. For the past 10 years, this routine had been his entire life, and he had never once broken it. Raghu told Chaitali, "I haven't spoken to another person in 10 years. I really feel like talking." By now, Chaitali had started to trust him a little, since he hadn't misbehaved with her during the night. Raghu told her, "There's something I've been hiding from you. There's a telephone here. Every time a train passes, it rings, but it's only an incoming line. We can't make calls. We can only receive them. Next time it rings, I'll tell them about you, so your husband can find you." A few moments later, the phone began to ring. Just as Raghu was about to tell them about Chaitali, she suddenly rushed over and cut the call. Then Chaitali confessed, "No one threw me off the train. I jumped myself. I was running away from my husband." She revealed that her husband was a psychiatrist, and that he had once been her own doctor. Then Chaitali began to tell the story of her past. "Several years ago, a patient named Shinchu came to me." Chaitali began to speak. Shinchu was in deep depression because his wife had committed suicide. He couldn't bear the shock at all. He was completely mentally broken and sank into utter despair. At that time, I was a new doctor, and he was my first patient. I devoted all my attention, time, and energy to his treatment. Gradually, Shinchu started recovering. He began to smile again, to speak. A friendship developed between us. By the end of the treatment, we had become so close that eventually we fell in love with each other. A few days later, we got married. My family didn't agree to this marriage. They said, "You are marrying a mental patient. He could lose his mind again at any time." But I didn't listen. I believed that love could change everything. Tears welled up in Chaitali's eyes as she continued, "Soon after our marriage, Shinchu's true nature emerged. He would suddenly get angry without reason, break things, and verbally abuse me. At first, I thought maybe his illness had returned, but gradually, he began to abuse me deliberately. He beat me every day, doubted me constantly, and even stopped me from talking to my patients. My life became a living hell. I silently endured everything, because I loved him and trusted that one day he would change. But one day, I found his diary," Chaitali continued. "When I was reading Shinchu's diary, everything went dark before my eyes. It contained things no one could even imagine. In that diary, Shinchu confessed. His wife hadn't committed suicide. He had killed her himself. Not only that, he had also killed a nurse at the hospital because she knew the truth about his wife." Her voice trembled. I froze while reading the diary. At that moment, Shinchu entered the room. He saw me holding the diary. Then, screaming like a madman, he started beating me. I tried to escape, but he dragged me along. To save myself from the police, he tried to take me away on a train. That was when I seized the opportunity to jump off here. Chaitali's past ends, and the story returns to the present. Raghu listened quietly for a moment, and then said, "Chaitali, your story and mine are similar. Neither of us has anyone in this world. If you want, we can start a new life together here." Chaitali couldn't quite understand what Raghu meant. Just then, the train whistle blew, and Raghu went outside to signal it with his flag. After this, Chaitali began growing closer to Raghu. She prepared food for him, kept the house clean, and it seemed she was slowly learning to trust him. But one day, while cleaning, Chaitali found an old newspaper clipping. It read, "An individual has killed 4 people and escaped." Suddenly, Chaitali discovered another truth. The Raghu in front of her was not the real Raghu. He had stolen the identity of another Raghu, the original railway gatekeeper. Shocked and angry, Chaitali picked up a knife and advanced toward him. But Raghu said calmly, "Chaitali, don't be afraid. I will tell you everything truthfully." Then the story shifted to Raghu's flashback. He began, "My mother had chosen a girl for me. On the very first meeting, I told her everything. I had loved a girl before, but she deceived me and married a wealthy man. I thought then that I would start my life anew. The girl I married was good. A few days later, she brought her cousin's sister to our home because I had some land where labor was needed. She said her cousin would help us." Then, the story returns to Raghu, revealing the horrifying truth of his past. "A few days later, I became a father. A few years after that, we had 2 children. Life seemed peaceful. One day, my wife said, 'I don't want any more children. You should go and get a vasectomy.' I agreed and went to the doctor. But after examining me, the doctor said, 'You don't need a vasectomy. You can never father a child.' Hearing this, my mind reeled. I was stunned. When I returned home, I found my wife and her cousin together, a situation no husband could tolerate. That's when I realized my wife had been deceiving me for years. The 2 children we had, they weren't mine. They were her cousins." Raghu's eyes turned red with fury. "I was broken from the inside. My world had ended. Anger, pain, betrayal. It all drove me insane, and I killed all 4 of them. My wife, her cousin, and the 2 children." The story then returns to the present. Raghu says to Chaitali, "Chaitali, perhaps anyone in my place would have done the same." Chaitali looks into his eyes and replies, "What you did may have been wrong, but I understand you were treated very unjustly. Perhaps anyone in your position would have done the same." Gradually, Chaitali begins to feel sympathy for Raghu. Raghu continues, "After I killed those 4, I fled from the police and came here. I met a gatekeeper named Raghu and started working with him, helping with meals and the gatekeeping. One day, he suddenly died. Since then, I assumed his identity and have been working as the gatekeeper here for the past 10 years. Hearing Raghu's tragic story, Chaitali feels compassion for him. She decides to stay for a while, helping him with chores, carrying water from afar, tidying the house, and assisting in his daily routine. One day, Chaitali goes far to fetch water. Raghu is busy at the railway crossing. At that very moment, Shinchu arrives, searching for his wife. He approaches Raghu and asks, "Have you seen a woman here?" Raghu replies in a calm voice, "No, I haven't seen anyone." He was saying he hadn't seen any woman here. He explained that his wife was under treatment, but he had completely lost his mind. Her name was Shika, and she openly spoke whatever was on her mind. He said, "I am a doctor. If anyone stays with my wife, their life could be in danger. If you have seen that girl, tell me. My wife Shika is under treatment, and my name is Dr. Shinchu." Hearing all this, Raghu could hardly believe it. He didn't know whom to trust and whom not to. Without hesitation, Raghu rushed there, but Chaitali had gone far to fetch water at that time. Raghu asked Shinchu, "Who is this Shika?" Then Chaitali returned and realized that her husband Shinchu had arrived. She tried to explain Shika was the name of Shinchu's wife, the same woman Shinchu had killed. Chaitali warned that Shinchu could drive everyone away and track her down. If she reached him, he he would kill her. Raghu still didn't fully trust Chinchu, but Chaitali understood the situation in her own way. So Chaitali said, "Let's do one thing. We forget about the police." But Raghu wasn't ready yet. He said, "The police won't come here, because I myself am a fugitive." Then the two of them attempted to return to where they had come from. Chinchu tried to carry Chaitali on his shoulder. On the way, Chaitali told Raghu, "I wanted to spend some time with you, but you never understood me." Hearing this, Raghu said to Chinchu, "You'll end up killing your wife anyway, so it's better you give me your wife instead, and then we can live here in peace." As Raghu and Chinchu were negotiating, suddenly, Chaitali, that is, Shikha, lunges at Chinchu and stabs him, seriously wounding him. She screams at Raghu, "You never trusted me!" Hearing this, Raghu's mind snaps completely. Enraged, he grabs Chinchu and beats him to death. As Raghu is about to bury Chinchu's body, a hospital slip falls from Chinchu's pocket. On it is written, "Dr. Chinchu, patient, Shikha." Seeing this paper, Raghu is stunned. It turns out the woman Chaitali thought she was. Her real name is Shikha, and she was Chinchu's patient. In other words, Chaitali, Shikha, was the true mental patient. At that very moment, Shikha attacks Raghu, trying to kill him. But killing Raghu isn't so easy. Raghu overpowers her and kills her instead. Here, the story's true revelation comes to light. Raghu himself is the real psycho. In the end, it is revealed that Raghu's old story, how he loved a girl who betrayed him and married a wealthy man, was the start of his madness. He had not only killed that couple and their children, but had also murdered the original railway gatekeeper Raghu, stealing his identity and hiding here for years. Thus, all three characters in the story were mentally disturbed. Dr. Chinchu, obsessed with his patient; Shikha, Chaitali, deluded by her fears; and Raghu, the actual killer and true psycho. The story concludes with the final scene. In the silent desert, beside the railway gate, Raghu stands alone. His face wears a strange smile as if he is already waiting for the arrival of another train.